Welcome and good afternoon to this session with me. I'm very grateful to have a bishop from Russia. We just happened to meet just earlier, 30 minutes ago. Then I asked him to share his vocation story and his currently mission as a bishop in Russia. So once again, Bishop, I'm very grateful and welcome and good afternoon.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you for inviting me and having me. It's an honor for me. Thank you so much.
For me, it's a very great honor to have you, a bishop, with me. So very grateful. Then maybe you can do some introduction about yourself and who are you and where are you from, where is your currently mission.
Yes, I'm Bishop Stephan Lipke. I was born in Germany. Just recently I celebrated 50 years. And so in Germany I became a diocesan priest first, but a little bit later I joined the Society of Jesus. So in 2006 I entered the novitiate of the Society of Jesus after 4 years of being a priest already. And so I did some apostolate in Germany, but then after some time it so happened that we got the news that 2 Jesuits had been murdered in Moscow. And so since I was thinking for years already that I might have a vocation to go to some distant mission, and somebody asked me, have you already told the provincial that you're ready to replace them if ever? I said no, and then my next thought was not yet. So by chance, a day later I met the provincial anyway, so I asked him, what do you think? Do you think somebody needs to go to Russia? And so then the provincial to go to Russia, and so then the provincial said, let's think about it. But then really afterwards it turned out yes, because I felt really that what is the thing, what I can experience during my mission in Russia, there were different ones, is on the one hand this experience of depth. So really it's not about doing too many things because you're so limited, the laws and so on, there are so many limitations, but you can go really deep down into what you want to do, how you want to love and serve the Lord. And I felt that that's my vocation. I have the luck that every now and then, even now, I can give a retreat to somebody. We have social apostolate, and so I'm really glad about these things. And so I was missioned to Siberia first. I spent 6 years in Siberia, most of the time in Tomsk, where we have a grade school and high school, an elementary and high school, and I worked in that structure, being responsible for it and also teaching English and religious education. And then afterwards I got transferred, I did my tertianship, my school of the heart, my deepening of my religious experience. I did that here in Manila actually, or in the Philippines. And then afterwards I got missioned to Moscow to be responsible for a training center, theological training center for adults. And then afterwards, 1.5 years ago, Pope Francis appointed me to be auxiliary bishop back in Siberia, where I had started my Russian mission. There I was sent back. I was thinking of that. I was thinking of completely different things, but then it so turned out. And so now, what is my mission? Being with people in different places, traveling around. So, for example, if I go by train to the most distant place, it takes me like 24 hours to reach that place, but still it's good to be in contact with people, to listen to them, to listen to their stories, to share their situation, their sufferings, and different kinds of people, the local people, foreign students who are in Russia and who suffer from loneliness. So that is my mission right now as auxiliary bishop with Bishop Josef Wert, who is my boss, so to say, and I really try to fulfill this mission with God's help, and yes, so that's what I'm doing right now.
So I would like to know why do you want to switch from diocesan priest to a Jesuit? Is there something that triggers you to consider a Jesuit?
experience. So the first thing was, well, I know, for example, the local parish priest of the parish where I grew up, and he knew everybody there, he was part of the town and so on. And I thought, that's a good vocation if it's yours, but it's not mine. Because from the very beginning I had this feeling, maybe I should be, I should somehow find the Lord in a way of special mission. Well, there's one thing that I like, learning languages, that I like finding out about new people, new cultures and so on. So I had this feeling. And then after I found out, then I started reading the letters by St. Francis Xavier. And then I found out that it's not only about doing more, going to more places, but the more important thing is going deeper. And so I found out that without the spiritual exercises, without this experience of the Spirit, the Spirit guiding, the good Spirit guiding the person, also of course the bad spirit, the evil spirit trying to guide the person. Without that experience, a mission would be also superficial, so to say. And so really it was this feeling, well, it's the Jesuits, it's what I read from these letters, but even more what is behind. So the experience of depth, of giving oneself fully to the Lord. That's what triggered me.
So as a bishop, from your pastoral experience in Russia, so what are the greatest spiritual challenges facing the church and the faithful in Russia today?
Yes, of course there are many challenges, and there are the obvious challenges that are exterior. Limitations, limited numbers, very limited finances, limited juridical possibilities, occasions, because the government somehow tries to limit us and so on. They don't persecute, but they try to limit to that but that is exterior. What is more important nowadays is, well, what we have not only in Russia is this big issue of polarization on the one hand, so that everybody, it's like during the First World War, everybody is in their own, dug in their own line, and they are afraid if ever they take a step forward, they will get shot, so to say. So in the society that surrounds us in Russia, but also everywhere, I think somehow everybody is afraid to take this step, to reach out to somebody else, because you don't know what happens. So people are afraid, and also in Russia it's something else. It's the temptation for Catholics to stay inside the ghetto, to stay only among themselves, instead of reaching out. And there are so many poor people, so many people who need us, so many people who need to come to know the gospel, who need to find out what Jesus offers to people. Who knows, will they become Christians, will they become even Catholics, will they become believers, who knows, but at least let them find out. So really the challenge is reaching out, being courageous, taking the step.
So how does the church in Russia witness to Christ and hope amid the social and political and cultural tensions, as you mentioned about polarizations, digitalizations, and materialistics, something like that?
Yes, I think the big call would be, yes, or what we try really is through a deepening, through what people really like, for example, and where we could do far more is Eucharistic adoration. So people like this, but what is not yet there is that it could become really a process, a school of deepening, a school of growing deeper in love with the Lord, of truly, as Father Pedro Arrupe said, fall in love, stay in love, and that will change everything. And it would really be like this. And so that's what we try to do every day, to offer first our Catholics, come and find out more about the Lord, love Him more deeply, and then you can share this experience. For example, there's one thing among Catholics in Russia, it's very difficult for them to accept that Jesus is truly human. So it's very easy for them to say, well, it's Christ, the Son of God, but that He is truly human, that, as we have in today's Gospel, that He was really tempted, that He really experienced hunger, suffering, and so on. that he really learned from the people whom he met. So that's what has not yet reached our people, and I think that's what we try to do. And yes, but thank God we can do some things. We can also somehow reach out to Muslims, yes, to Protestants, to the Orthodox somehow. So we try, and we are a tiny community, but still we can do some things. For example, what is really fascinating is, most of all in the area where I stay, is when we reach out to the poor, like does our Caritas, like do Mother Teresa's sisters, whom we have in different places. So that really makes a difference when we reach out to the poor and offer them something, because it spreads. It will invite other organizations, other denominations, other groups to do similar things, and that's how God's kingdom grows. And here it's the seeds, small seeds, but they grow.
So you mentioned about the Catholics there are minority, and we live amidst the biggest number of other Christians or other religions.
Yes.
So how, as a bishop, how do you maintain the peace and dialogue with the other denominations and some religions?
Yes, so really Catholics are a tiny minority, not even 1% of the population. Plus, Catholics usually traditionally at least, belong to ethnic minorities. So Russia is a state that has many nations, many nationalities, many languages also. And so Catholics traditionally are Polish or German or Lithuanian, even if they are far from Poland, from Lithuania, but still. So, what we need to do is really to offer ourselves. Once again, we need to find ways how to come into dialogue. And I've mentioned one, charity work, maybe the most important one. But then also there's one thing that we offer and that really helps people come into dialogue, that is concerts. So because the Catholic Church has a specific tradition of, or not only the Catholic Church, Lutherans also playing the organ, this music and so on. So if people know about these things, how to say, it's an excuse. They know that there's a concert in the Catholic Church, so it's somehow an excuse why they can go, and that's how they open up, and that's how we come into contact. Then also our school in Tomsk, because very few of the students are Catholics, like only 1%, 2% maybe are Catholics. Most of them are at least nominally Orthodox, some even Muslims, some Protestants. And yes, that's we need to find ways. We need to reach out, and if they want to accept, it's up to them. But we need to have this courage.
So, Father, so I want to drag a bit about your own experience as a Jesuit. How do you find a mission in Russia look like, or if you compare to German and Russia, would you want to say like there is a easy or difficult in your mission, Father?
So there's this obvious difference that the territory is huge, unlike Germany, unlike the Philippines, unlike Timor-Leste, where the territory is small. So it takes you hours to go somewhere. If you want to visit a priest, usually you have to go 3, 4, 5 hours to reach him. Or if you, for example, if you stay in a place and you want to go to a village for Mass, it's 3 hours by car to reach there. So that's the end, of course, the winter, the cold in winter. Now it's 50 degrees colder in OCBS than it is in Manila. So that's obvious, but that's only the exterior thing. The more important thing is maybe that there are no structures in Russia. And that's on the one hand difficult. So if there are structures, you know what you deal with, you know how to go on and so on. In Russia there are not. But the good thing, so you have to start, whatever you do, you have to start from zero. But the good thing is, of course, that gives you the chance really to talk to people, to try to find out together with them what is the best way, or to make mistakes and to say that was not the best way, okay, let's try something else. And so really it gives direct and close contact. So For example, in Germany, it would be quite difficult for people to talk directly to a bishop. In Russia, it's normal that parishes have my phone number and call me and so on, because yes, it's small, but it's also, so we have this direct contact.
So it's about the personal things, Father. When you heard that you will be become auxiliary bishop, so what reaction then, Father, do you?
Yes, that was quite interesting. I remember I was staying in Moscow, but I was planning to go to take a plane and to go to another place. And then the nuncio called me, well, could you come for a cup of coffee? I said, well, I have to go, and he said, okay, maybe you come before that. And so I went with my, I don't know, I was just wearing a t-shirt because it was summer and I was about to travel, with my backpack, and I went to the nuncio to talk, and then he said, well, you know, you should go to Novosibirsk because Pope Francis wants to make you auxiliary bishop there. And of course I thought, oh my God, because they had been talking about that sometime before, but then they stopped, and I thought, okay, thank God it's over. But no, it was not over, and it came back. So the one thing is really that I had this feeling to serve the church in Siberia. Yes, that's it. But of course I was thinking, is that necessary? But then I felt, how to say, the thing is, when you're ordained a bishop, it's already about commitment, that you really say, well, I'm going to stay here, if ever possible, I'm going to stay here, and that's my mission. And I had this feeling, well, it seems that that's necessary, and then, I exchanged a little bit with Father General, and then in the end we both said, so be it. So be it.
So looking back and 1.5 years being as a bishop, so how do you feel? How to find yourself as a bishop, which is like compared to your life as ordinary Jesuit? So is there any big difference there, Father?
The difference is there in the sense that somehow you are. By everybody, you're treated a little bit like an outsider, so you have to be more you have to reach out more, to be more in contact, and to find. But still, of course, in Siberia, we are close, we talk, we have time for each other, and so on. So it was, in some way, it is not a big change. The biggest change is that I have to travel more, that I'm all the time on the road. Some time ago I noticed, I looked up my agenda, and it said next week you go to that town. It meant 5 hours by bus, and then that, and I was thinking, so good, no trips at all, because 5 hours by bus is no longer a trip for me. It's just like going to buy a bottle of milk. So so that's and that, of course. Then I noticed one thing that is interesting when it comes to Sunday Mass. So if you're a priest and you celebrate Sunday Mass in a certain place every week, so then if you're not in a good mood and the homily on that day is no need to remember it, no problem, because it was not the first one, it will not be the last one, and so on. If you come as a bishop, you need to feel these people, who are they, and to find the right words for these people here and now, keeping in mind that it's not the only chance, but at least for the time being, this is you reach out to them or you don't. So, and I feel also this somehow this grace. So God is at work, that He helps to reach out to these people.
Would you say that the spiritual exercises, life as a Jesuit, helps you in your mission as a bishop, Father?
Yes, for sure. The most important thing, it helps to go back to simplicity, to have all these many impressions, and then somehow you stay in front of the Lord, like in the desert, in silence, and then one thing is not so important, the other thing, okay, then be it like this. And then there come the 3-4 things that are really important, and also 1 or 2 temptations that are really, that's my danger. On the other hand, that is really my joy. That is how God helps me. And then, of course, come the tears that make it so much, that gives so much lightness and brightness also. Yes, so really, without the spiritual exercises, I could never do it.
Would you say that our vow of poverty helps you in your mission as a bishop?
Yes, absolutely, because leading a simple life, not having much money, needing to find, well, I travel by bus and so on, not having, for example, not having a driver, it's not possible, absolutely not possible. So really these things, they help to say, yes, I'm close to the people, so the school, the experience that I've had, for example, here in Manila when I stayed 8 days with a poor family and so on, these experiences really, they help me a lot.
So, how about your spiritual practice? Would it be like still examine conscience every?
Yes, of course, twice a day.
Twice a day.
There needs to be, whenever possible, twice a day, the examen of conscience. During the middle of the day, it's not always possible. I try to get some occasion. If not, I make the one in the evening longer. Yes, and of course, in the morning. Well, what I do now, I in everyday life, I don't do the contemplation really, but what I do, I focus on the gospel, and then I stay in silence with the Lord, with the words of the gospel or of one of the readings, and really like this. Yes, it orders the day. It gives form and hopefully depth to the day. Yes, with God's help.
So, as a Jesuit and as auxiliary bishop. So, how would you describe your prayer now, Father?
How to describe it? I think I try, and it's also really somehow like this. It becomes simpler with every year. It becomes a little bit simpler because there are so many things. After some time, you see, well, it's not about this. So yes, so that's the most important thing. And during the day. My most common prayer would be, Lord, it's up to you. So whatever difficulty comes up, whatever might happen and so on, Lord, it's up to you. And also a deep thankfulness that started during the pandemic and it continues up to this day. During the pandemic, in a certain moment, I felt I'm very afraid of getting infected. But then I understood, well, because my idea was, if I get infected, I cannot celebrate Mass, I cannot do this thing, I cannot do that thing, and so on. But then it came to my mind, no need to be afraid. I can be thankful to the Lord that today I was able to do these things. And that's enough. What will be tomorrow, who knows? And now it's the same done today. What will come tomorrow? Lord, it's up to you.
So, Father, I think this is the last questions for you. What message of faith, hope, and unity would you like to share with the listeners around the world, especially the young people seeking meaning in their life today?
Message of faith, hope, and unity. Maybe this one thing, when we feel now that we are isolated, that groups are isolated from each other, when we feel now, how is it going on? Is there going to be our Earth anyway, or is it going to be destroyed by climate change, the world we know, and so on? Yes, all these dangers are real, of course, but still, if we do a little thing and do it with the Lord, so it becomes a seed. And I've experienced so many times that it grows, and that around this little thing more things come, and then so we don't need to be afraid. We can just say, yes, with God's help, I will start something. What will come out? It's not up to me, but I will start, and we can be sure the Lord will help it grow.
So, what message do you want to give to the young people who are considering a religious life, especially to the Jesuit?
Yes. Of course. To a young person, I'd say entrust yourself to God, seek Him in silence, and then He will show you the way.
So thank you very much,
Thank you.
Bishop, for your presence.
Thank you
It's
very
very
much.
helpful, and I'm so grateful to have you with me to share your knowledge and your experience and your mission in Russia. So it will help me to and others to know more about you and your mission, especially through your experience will help more young people to discover their vocation and people to come closer to God through your experience and insight. So thank you very much.
Thank
Bishop,
you
for this
very
time.
much, Brother
Thank you,
Ido.
thank
Thank
you,
you
thank
so much. Thank you.